You are exhausted, not because you do too much, but because you are carrying things that were never yours to carry. The opinion someone threw at you last week, the outcome you can't stop rehearsing, the version of your life you think you're supposed to be living by now. You wake up already tired, and you don't know why. And until you learn the one difference that separates the free from the trapped, you will never put any of it down. You will never feel light again. 2,000 years ago, a man who was born a slave discovered the one idea that can free anyone, emperor or prisoner. He owned nothing. He had no name worth recording, no money, no rights. His master could beat him, chain him, sell him to another household on a whim. There is even a story that his leg was broken in his master's house, and that he simply observed it would break calmly, as if it were happening to someone else. And yet history called him one of the freest men who ever lived, freer than the emperors who ruled the world. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why, and you'll have 3 practices you can use tonight. And it will quietly change how you see every problem you have. Think about the last time someone's comment ruined your whole day. One sentence. Maybe they didn't even mean it, but you replayed it in the shower. You replayed it on the drive home. You replayed it in bed at 3 a.m., building the perfect reply you'll never say. That one sentence took up rent in your mind, and you handed them the keys for free. Or maybe it's not a person. Maybe it's the outcome you can't stop worrying about. The text you're still waiting for, checking your phone like it owes you something. The result that isn't decided yet, that you keep trying to force with the sheer pressure of your worrying. The thing you cannot control, but cannot stop reaching for. Notice how heavy that is. Notice that you've been carrying it for years. His name was Epictetus, and his entire philosophy came down to a single brutal distinction. One sentence you could carve into stone. Some things are up to you. Most things are not. Your effort is yours. Your choices are yours. Your judgments, your values, the way you respond to what happens, these belong to you, and no one can take them without your permission. But the weather is not yours. The traffic is not yours. What other people think of you, whether they approve, whether they stay, not yours. Your reputation, the past you can't rewrite, the future you can't guarantee. None of it was ever in your hands. And here's the part that stings. We don't suffer because life is hard. Life is hard for everyone. We suffer because we keep grabbing for the things we were never holding, and then we're shocked when they slip through our fingers. Now let me tell you about a man who tested this idea in the worst place imaginable, not in a classroom, but in hell. His name was James Stockdale, an American pilot. In 1965, his plane was shot down over enemy territory, and he was thrown into a prison camp where he would stay for 7 years. Tortured more than 15 times, starved, locked in solitary confinement, in leg irons, in the dark. But here's the strange part. As Stockdale ejected from his burning plane, floating down toward capture, he said something to himself. He whispered, "I am leaving the world of technology and entering the world of Epictetus." Years before, a professor had handed him a small book of Stoic philosophy. He had no idea it was about to save his life. In that cell, with everything stripped from him, his rank, his freedom, his health, even his name, he held on to one idea. They could break his body. They could not touch the man inside it unless he handed them the key. They controlled the chains. He controlled the one thing chains can't reach. And that, not strength, not luck, is how he walked out alive when stronger men around him broke and never recovered. Now, you are probably not in a prison camp. And I'm not going to insult what Stockdale survived by pretending your day is the same. But listen, your prison is quieter. That's exactly why it's so hard to see. It's the opinion you can't let go of, the result you're trying to force into existence, the approval you're still chasing from someone who may never give it. The bars are invisible, but they hold you just as tightly. And here's what almost no one realizes. The key is the same key. Stop pulling on what was never yours. Stop spending your one life negotiating with things that were never up for negotiation. And suddenly you notice the door was never locked. You were holding it shut from the inside. So how do you actually live this, not as a quote you like, but as a habit? The Stoics didn't just think, they trained with simple daily practices. The first is the morning sort. Before the noise begins, Before the phone, before the inbox, before the world starts making demands, you ask one question: what today is mine and what is not? You can't control whether the meeting goes well, only how prepared and how calm you walk in. You can't control whether they like you, only whether you act with integrity, whether you keep your word. You can't control the result of the interview, the diagnosis, the deal, only the quality of what you bring to it. 2 minutes, every single morning, it feels like nothing, but it slowly rewires how you meet the entire day, like sorting a tangled pile into mine and not mine before you've even stood up. The second practice is the view from above. When something feels enormous, when it's pressing on your chest and you can't think past it, the Stoics did something deliberate with their imagination. They rose. They pictured themselves lifting up, high above the street, above the city, until they were looking down at their own small life from far above the earth. And from up there, something happens. The insult that ruined your whole week becomes a speck you can barely find. The fear that kept you awake becomes a single passing cloud over a vast landscape. The argument, the embarrassment, the worry, most of what we panic about simply cannot survive that altitude. It was never as big as it felt. It only felt huge because you were standing too close, with your face pressed against it. And the third, the one I promised you at the very start, the one that changes everything, the evening review. Each night, before sleep, you look back over your day, not to attack yourself, without judgment, without shame. You ask 2 honest questions. Where did I waste my energy today on things I could never control? And where did I act well? Where did I stay true to myself? This isn't punishment, it's training, the same way an athlete reviews the game. And here's the secret the Stoics understood. The thing most people live and die without ever learning. Freedom isn't a mood that arrives on a good day. It isn't a feeling you wait for, hope for, or stumble into. Freedom is a skill, and like any skill, it grows only with practice. Most people never train it once, so they spend their whole lives as prisoners of every passing mood, blown around by every comment and every fear, and they call that just how I am. Now, maybe a part of you is resisting all this. Maybe you're thinking, this sounds cold, detached, like it's teaching you to stop caring, to shrug at everything and feel nothing. But that's the great misunderstanding of Stoicism, and I want to clear it up. The Stoics were not asking you to become numb. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, wept openly when his teacher died and felt no shame in it. Seneca loved his friends fiercely and wrote about that love without apology. These were not cold men. The point was never to kill your emotion. It was to stop being ruled by it. There is a world of difference between feeling grief and drowning in it, between caring deeply about an outcome and tying your entire peace, your whole sense of self, to whether it goes your way. To focus on what you control is not to care less. It is to care wisely, to love and act and hope without being shattered every time the world doesn't obey you. When you finally focus only on what is actually yours, something shifts, quietly and then completely. The anxiety loosens its grip on your chest. You stop begging the world for permission to be at peace. You stop waiting for the text, for the approval, for the perfect conditions, and you start acting. The traffic still crawls. People still misunderstand you. Plans still fall apart. And loss still comes the way it comes for everyone. But none of it owns you anymore. You meet it, you carry what's yours, and you set down what isn't. That is the freedom Epictetus found while standing in chains. The freedom no master could give him, and no master could take. The only kind that was ever real. So tomorrow, when the weight comes back, and it will come back because it always does, don't fight it and don't panic. Just ask one quiet question. Is this mine to carry? If it is, carry it well, fully, without complaint. That's your work and you can do it. But if it's not, set it down, let it go. It was never your weight and it never will be. The freedom you've been searching for all this time was never out there in the world, in the right job or the right person or the right outcome. It was always in that one quiet choice, available to you in any moment. So before you click away, sit with one idea from this video today and ask yourself honestly right now, what are you carrying that was never yours?